Anybody online? Kinley here from Orkney Uncovered Private Tours on Saturday the 19th of December here in the Orkney Islands at the Standing Stones of Stenness. Standing Stones of Stenness is a Neolithic henge monument. It's just as sun setting just now, with the Hoy Hills in the distance there. So in a couple of days' time it will be the shortest day. And what I've got here is a selection of stones, of which there are only a few remain. 1, 2, 3 and a half, and one lying down. So Standing Stones of Stenness here is a Neolithic henge monument, and for anybody who doesn't know this, a Neolithic means New Stone Age. Okay. Now there's a bit of work's going on in the car park down there, so they're needing to get the car park replaced. But I thought I would come here at sunset. The weather in Orkney today has been amazing, as usual. Although it's getting quite cold now. Hi Svetlana, nice to see you. So the idea behind the Standing Stones of Stenness is that these Neolithic megaliths as such would be taken from as far away as perhaps 10-15 miles and pulled here on position using seaweed probably, and the seaweed itself, lots of kelp. So if you go down to the beach in Orkney and at low tide, you see this big strands of kelp. If you take kelp and you put it on the ground, lots of layers of it, and use a stone and put it on the top of it, you can actually pull the stone across, and this gives you the movement of something that weighs several tons over time moving onto the seaweed. Now the good thing about the seaweed as well with kelp is that after a while, when it's very much ground down, then you can reuse it in your farming. So the Neolithic people are very much big into their farming and their fishing. And the temperature of the climate back 5,000 years ago was approximately 1 or 2 degrees warmer. Now, it's not my ugly face you want to watch, you want to have a look at the stones here. So this stone here is one of the biggest. And you may have wondered what on earth that cut at the top is. Okay, the cut at the top is the way that sandstone breaks out of bedrock. Okay, so the cut's not to do with sundials or telling the time or anything else. It's the way that sandstone breaks. So it's sedimentary sandstone here in Orkney from the Devonian period. So 400 million years ago, the stones themselves would have been part of a vast freshwater lake bed called Lake Orcadian. So these massive stones, this stone, to give you some comparison, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk into the henge, alright? So this area ahead of me here, this is the henge. Now there is a difference, okay? When people talk about stone circles, or it's a henge monument, it's a stone circle. Well, henge, H-E-N-G-E, means a ditch or a rampart that surrounds a circle of stone or wooden structures used for ceremonial purpose. That's what a henge is, okay? So here ahead of me, that there is the henge. Okay? You can just see there's a bit of an arc here, a dip, and then an arc in the middle. So it dips on both sides. Now the henge itself probably would have been around about 15 feet deep and probably a good 25 feet across. And the idea behind it is that you can echo your voice over an area. So today it's a bit of a breeze today coming in. I think given the weather direction, I could be wrong, it feels like an easterly today. We normally have in Orkney a prevailing westerly, so it's much different today. So easterly coming off the North Sea, often cold. You can see why Neolithic man picked this area. So all the way around us, you've got, I'll turn on the camera the other way, all the way around you, you've got this valley, okay? So you've got the Loch of Stenness here on my left hand side. It's salt water, or brackish as it's known. You've got a large standing stone here in the distance called the Watchstone. And then you've got the freshwater loch of Harry, which, by the way, for any budding enthusiast fishermen out there, Harry Loch does amazing wild brown trout. It tastes amazing when it's smoked, freshly caught from the loch. So what you have here is this big structure, and in the middle of this huge megalith Neolithic structure, you have the hills of Hoy in the distance. Okay, so hills of Hoy in the distance, and we keep turning the camera around. You can see chap walking across there. You can see the hills in the far distance, all the way around. Okay, so if you have a look at Google Earth, okay, and you type in Standing Stones of Stenness, what you will see is that from the sky we're on a small spit of land. So the spit of land itself heads across to where the stone is, over towards what is known as basically a separate, perhaps at some stage maybe a separated island. It's now joined, it has been for thousands of years, but this island has got what's known as the ring of Brodgar on it. So Brodgar perhaps is the area, and the ring of stone circles behind it. You can't see it from here, but it's a good mile ahead of us in the distance. So what we're doing now is, the idea is that Neolithic man probably built this area at some stage these thousands of years ago to worship the dead, maybe, perhaps worshipping, killing a lamb or something like that, to try and promote wealth and well-being in the land for farming. So these stones themselves, it probably would have been 8 in a perimeter, from ditch to ditch, from henge to henge. It's 110 feet in diameter. So I'm walking backwards from the centre just now. I thought it'd be great today to show you. Let me look at that sunset in the distance. What a beautiful place we live in. With all the nightmare that's going on in the world with COVID-19 and stress of wrapping Christmas presents for me, unfortunately, with a very rowdy 6-year-old. It's a nice place to come here and spend a bit of time just taking in the area itself. So the stones themselves are 20 feet above the ground and 10 feet below. So are very large structures that would have been pulled out of location and pulled here. How many people were in the Neolithic period? Well, 5,000 years ago, it's likely as the population may have been about the same, if not slightly more. And so it would have been a lot of effort to bring these into position. You can imagine a heartache if your foreman says to you, Kinley, whatever you do, don't drop that stone. Imagine it splitting in half. You'd be thrown onto the wood pile, never to be seen again. But it's a great looking location, and this is what's known locally, as we call it, here we go, Sacrificial Stone. Okay, so you got the 2 stones behind it. These are tabletops. Tabletop. And this stone itself probably would have been in an angle, sort of sloped angle down into the ground. So the idea behind it, what would you have used it for? Well, the idea is you probably kill an animal, the blood runs down the stone and creates life and recycling of life in the ground. Very windy, difficult to hear from you. I'm sorry, I am trying my best to use some sort of little face buff thing. I'm not sure how it works. What I'm going to do, right, because I know it's quite windy here in Orkney just now, is I'm going to set up my camera in the middle here, okay, just down in front of me, and I'm going to go along to the stone here, and I'm going to clap my hands, okay, and see if you can hear the echo. All right, see? Oh, it's the wrong way around. There we go. Standing Stones of Stenness is it's got an echo with it, okay? So warm my hands up. If it's a westerly direction, you can hear the echo really loudly. So if I'm saying this, I wonder how many people are watching this video just now. Who knows? camera, you follow me, I'm a bit crazy like. So what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to try and put it on the stone side and clap my hands. Now the problem is today it's different, I think it's possibly a southeasterly direction, so it's quite cold. But if I put this camera, I'll put it over here actually, sorry about this. I'll put this camera here, there we go, come on phone, work again, there we go. Right, so it's ahead of me. Can anybody hear me now? Hear the echo? Pretty cool, isn't it? I clap my hands. And if you can hear what I'm saying, what is this mad Viking doing? So there's a significant echo with the noise of the stones. Now for me, what I like to do is I like to go and hide behind a stone. So if it's a bit windy, which it is just now, to try and hear what I'm saying, I'll go and use one of the stones. So I like to think that the Neolithic people were here at some stage 5,000 years ago, and they thought, you know what, I'm not going to use it for worship, I'm going to use it for shelter. Now some of those of you who've done tours with me and we've been here and it's raining, normally when it's a westerly direction, you can hide behind this massive stone. Now a number of years ago, I was here doing a tour with a family from Australia, and it was paneling it down with rain, really thumping down cats and dogs type rain. And the people said to me, are we going to make it back to the car? I said, no, we'll hide behind this stone. So they looked at me like I had two heads, thinking, what is he talking about? So it was an almighty squall. It swept across the area of Stenness Loch here ahead of us, and right towards where this stone is. And the five of us hid behind this stone for 20 minutes as the heavens opened. People running around with crazy ponchos trying to get back to the cruise ship coach, and myself and my small private guided group hiding behind what Neolithic man left to us 5,000 years ago. After 30 minutes or so, we walked out into the meadow, successfully dry and not covered in water. So I like to think ancient man had a good idea, didn't they? Think, I can't be bothered using it as a place to worship, I'm going to use it for shelter. Okay. In the middle here, you've got possibly a hearth at one stage. A hearth used for keeping you nice and warm, perhaps, but it's quite deep. So some people come up with it might have been used as a well, but probably more likely a hearth, somewhere you can all get together. You can speak about things, sing a couple of Stone Age songs, probably about the crap weather, and then make your way to the stone circles. So I'm walking out towards the east at the moment, okay, and I'm walking down the ditch or the henge. There we go. Hertfordshire, cool. Right, now, so here I am up on the henge. Okay, so this arc here is sort of the big area. Now if you were to come here and arrive sort of here in the early morning or late at night, it's quite nice to come. It's actually a great place to see the northern lights as well. So if it stays clear, and depending on solar flares and so on, Earth's atmosphere, we might get a good display of the northern lights tonight, the Aurora Borealis. For me, the aurora is best seen in November. So you can see the Hoy Hills in the distance, lovely looking sunset. Walking this way. So I'm going to walk around the henge, okay, so 110 feet in diameter. Now the Ring of Brodgar, which is much bigger than this, the Ring of Brodgar is 350 feet in diameter, so a much bigger structured site. There perhaps would have been up to 80 stones in a circle. So you can imagine the auditorium effect then. it's quite difficult to hear the auditorium effect, the echo effect, when it's the wrong wind direction. If it was a westerly today, it would be very loud. So if you come here, it doesn't matter if you live in Orkney, you live throughout the world, live in Michigan, as I see somebody online just now. If you come to Orkney, stand in the centre there, okay? If you're on a cruise ship coach, forget all the rubbish of following everybody around as a herd. Walk up yourself into the centre and start clapping your hands, and you'll hear the echo. And that's what the henge is for, is to echo your voice. So can you imagine if this henge that we're walking on just now was much deeper? If it had been 15, maybe 18 feet in depth, and 25 feet across, the echo would be very clear and transparent. This is the thinnest of the ones that remains, but it's a great location. Any of you who come to Orkney and you want to get the perfect picture, watch this. So I'm stepping back the way. You can see the house with the red roof behind me there. It's called the Odin House, named after the old war god of the Old Norse. Now, the Odin House is because in that field there used to be a stone about my height with a circle cut out the middle. And that was known as the Odin Stone. So if you had an argument with somebody, you put your hand in there to shake their hand or have your arm cut off, depending if you're the Vikings. And this would supposedly, you would agree on this stone and that would be over with. Okay, now, the good thing about standing here, apart from that structure in the distance there, is if you kneel down, try not kneel down on sheep poo here. There you go. You can use the stone to cover off the house with the red roof and that barn by getting much lower down. Now what I'm going to do, everybody, is I'm going to stand. I'm going to put my phone down here with its little stand, and I'm going to go and measure myself against the stone circle. Okay? There we go. In Orkney. Get me to push. It's a good exercise stone though, you know. Amazing. What's really amazing, very cool and amazing about this stone circle is this predates Stonehenge by about 1400 years. Okay, so the original stone circle areas that were built possibly started up here in the Northern Isles. So this is what we call the heart of Neolithic Orkney. It's getting cold now. I'm hoping that at some stage you might have a white Christmas, but time will tell. How's the beard looking? My wife is unconvinced about the beard. It's a magic location this at this time of year because you're the only people on the site. You come in the summer months, during the day there could be as many as 200 people here. At this time of the year, currently, apart from the guy with the orange trousers we saw earlier, we are the only people here just now. What a beautiful sunset. Now, some of you may be wondering why Orkney Uncovered is commenting on Orkney Uncovered. Well, one of my friends and also great contributors to Orkney Uncovered is called Steve Shaw, and he is an admin and he lives in South Carolina because a lot of our clients come from the United States. So he's commenting on the video that I'm doing, so that's why you wondered why on earth how can he comment on his own video. That's the reason being. Now I'm going to put this on YouTube after this as well, and see if I can get some likes on YouTube. So if you like YouTube, check out Orkney Uncovered on YouTube. What a beautiful evening. little pimple point on the horizon. Can't zoom, I don't know how to zoom in on this thing, so there's a little pimple point just there. That's Maze Howe Chamber Tomb. The Maze Howe Chamber Tomb is a tomb under the hill, and it was built by Neolithic people about 4,500, maybe 5,000 years ago, and used as a burial site. So next year, or hopefully by the end of this year, or early next year, we will have a new car park, because that's one of the big problems with this loch of Stenness ahead of us. It's salt water, or brackish, so when there's a lot of strong westerly direction, salt water will damage road surfaces and so on. But we don't have any ice up here or frost. I mean, for the last many days in December, it's been warm enough to go outside for me wearing a shorts and t-shirt. But I've probably tempted fate now, so my wee boy Benjamin is praying for a white Christmas so Santa can give him some special presents. His list of things for Santa has increased daily. For years I asked Santa for a BMX bike, and for years Santa never gave me a BMX bike. So I said, Santa, come on, this is not good enough. All I'm asking for is a cool looking bike. Did one last letter to Santa, and by some amazing miracle, my mum and dad managed to get the letter to Santa, and I was given my BMX bike. Well chuffed. If you've got this on your bucket list, okay, come up during the winter months, okay? Winter months is the best time of the year to come to Orkney to see these sights to yourselves. Anyway, so funny. People here in Orkney love a little bit of wondering who's going on, who's talking, who's the crazy man with the beard. Today, some really nice chap called Dan, who's an archaeologist, stopped me and spoke to me in Stromness, and he said, "Oh, you're the guy that's been jumping the sea every day. How's it going?" I said, "Oh, it's been going fine. December's a lot colder though." So Dan, thank you for that. But it's great to be here. Breathe in the fresh air, give the beard a tonic blast. I've only got 700 subscribers on YouTube, so I doubt I'll ever reach the 1,000 mark. But there you go. So Orkney Uncovered, we've been trading now for 9 years, and COVID-19 has taken an impact on that, but we are back up and running. So next year should be a busy year. Next year and 22. Trying to whistle, but I've spoken so much I can't do any whistling anymore. Now, on a final point, you might wonder why the stones are missing. What happened to them over several thousand years? Well, weather happened. The big problem we have here in Orkney is we're surrounded by sea. So in the west is the North Atlantic, and way across the east is the North Sea. So we are surrounded by water. And that water is salt water, so it's very damaging for a lot of things. But combine that with high wind speeds, you get quite a lot of weathering. And then lightning as well, believe it or not. So we sometimes get quite a bit of lightning in the winter months. And so some of these stones have been split by lightning, particularly at the Ring of Brodgar. There's also the idea is that in the 19th century, a local man got a bit overzealous with dynamite. So Mr. Nobel invented dynamite in 1867, inadvertently invented dynamite, and then became the era of using dynamite. So unfortunately, these stones have been blown up, or some of them, and you can see down here, that's a borehole filled with cement in it to stop it being blown up, and a borehole up there. What you can see here is this was actually never, luckily for us, never blown up with dynamite, but you can see a crack. This crack goes all the way up through the middle, and that crack is probably from lightning. But these solid stones, as you can see, have been here for millennia, and they'll be here, outlive everybody else for another millennia or two. The stone itself, you can see, is cross bedding. So this is what you've got here. So our geology in Orkney is red sandstone and yellow sandstone. Some of the stones, a bit of limestone as well, and some bluestone. But these are red sedimentary sandstone, and you can see the layers of where the seabed was at one stage. And if you look at some of the stones at Ring of Brodgar, should you do a tour there or book myself, then you'll see some runic writings and writings from the First and Second Crusade as well, which is kind of cool. My beard is flapping about something awful. So from Kinley Francis here in the Orkney Islands on Saturday, the 19th of December 2020. I hope you all have a glorious Christmas or whatever you're doing over the festive break. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and remember to wear your mask, okay? No, June, that would be cheating. I don't want to cut my beard off, it's awesome. Thank you, Boris, for tuning in from Russia, Moscow. Oh, it's so nice to be hiding behind this big stone just now, getting shelter. So from Kinley Francis here, Orkney Uncovered, with this massive stone. Happy Christmas, farewell, and be safe.